Daily Sean coming at you. Thought about this before I head on into work this morning. One of the things that they talked about in my program, my nurse practitioner program, was having the confidence to admit you did not know something or that you weren't prepared. There's going to come a time when you, as a nurse or as a nurse practitioner, you're going to have a provider, a physician, someone who is your supervisor, your leader from a clinical perspective. It's going to ask you a question about your patient or ask you a question in regards to a physiological process. They're going to quiz you. And in the world of medicine, if you've been in the nurse practitioner world or provider world, it's actually it's a colloquialism that the attending is going to pimp you. Don't ask me how that was created. I can only tell you that it's a thing. So when they pimp you or they question you, sometimes we call it drill you, an example is you're in multidisciplinary rounds, you're rounding on your patient, you present your patient, you're starting to talk about your plan of care, and then the attending physician, my intensivist, my surgeon, says, well, why are we doing this, Sean? And tell me about the hyponatremia. Why are we doing that? What do you know about sick thyroid syndrome? And many times when you are first starting out, heck, I still do it to this day, your brain's going to freeze. You're going to absolutely just lock up and freeze. You know the answer, but your body and your brain just lock up. And there's a variety of ways of responding to it. The worst of which is to hem-haw around and to lie about it, to create some sort of superfluous story that explains what you're doing when the attending knows you're full of BS. So my recommendation is not to do that. And then the other example and the best response to give is to admit you don't know it, don't understand it, but you're going to go look it up and learn about it. And then you're going to come back and tell that person what you've learned. So I always tell my new nurses, my new nurse practitioners, students, that when you're doing a rotation, or even when you're out there working in your job, and your attending physician, your provider, someone quizzes you on something, and you may not have it readily available in your brain pan, that a very acceptable answer and a very respected answer is, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can go look it up. You're going to gain more respect, and you're going to have more confidence in your abilities, and so are they going to have confidence in you, if you admit your inability to know something, if you admit your fault. I don't know what you call it fault. But you admit that you're not prepared. You admit your ignorance. And it's not a negative connotation. It's the fact that you just don't know this stuff yet. And you need to look it up. The important part is that you actually look it up. You don't just give them that answer so that you get a pass. When someone asks you about a difficult thing that you don't know about and you say, I'm sorry, I don't know that answer right now, but I can look it up. You better darn well look it up and get back to that person whenever you do closing rounds, exit rounds, the next day during rounds, at any point. Hey, Dr. Smith, remember we were talking about that thing this morning? I did go and look it up, and here's what I learned. And you tell them what you learned. That is absolutely the best way to create a respected rapport between you and that provider. It also creates an environment where the provider who is quizzing you starts to trust you. They trust that it's okay for you not to know everything, but you understand the responsibility of being able to utilize your resources. One of the most difficult things as a new provider is being able and having the confidence to say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to go look it up.